Hello everyone, I hope that you're very well. Today is a wonderful day. I've decided, even though I'm filming this in August, that autumn has begun. We've got the autumn sheets, we've got my pumpkin spice latte in my squirrel mug, I've got my jumper on, the leaves are starting to turn outside. Oh, it fills me with so much joy. It is autumn and I have a little mini autumn TBR to share with you. I've got out the habit of making TBR videos. I used to make them every single month and now I don't, but I thought I would bring you a seasonal TBR, and because I have very many seasonal books to get to this autumn, so I thought I would share some of them with you today. First of all, I'm going to run through some physical books that are on my TBR. These are all for various reading challenges that I'm doing over the year, and then I've got a few Kindle books to round it all off. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So first of all, I have my Buzzword Reading Challenge books, and I'll try to remember which month is which, but I'm pretty sure September. The prompt is game, and it can be any game related word, but I had a book that had game in the title on my TBR. So I've picked up The Royal Game by Anne O'Brien. This will be my second Anne O'Brien book. I really enjoyed the first one of hers that I read. The title has currently escaped me. It was The Shadow Queen. I was going to say Shadow Princess, so it would have been close. So this is set in Henry VI's reign during the War of the Roses. We all know I love Tudor books and Tudor adjacent, you know, medieval, early modern, that sort of era, and it always feels very autumnal to me. I don't know why, it just has that vibe. So I was very glad that I could land this in September and kick off some autumn reading with The Royal Game. And then in October, the prompt is magic or a related word. So I'm going to be reading The Manningtree Witches by A.K. Blakemore. I don't actually know much about this book. I picked it up in the Waterstone sale a couple of years ago and haven't read it. Well, it's historical fiction again. We know I love historical fiction, and especially for autumn. So it's set during the 17th century, this one, so about 200 years later than The Royal Game. Puritanical fervour has gripped the nation. I mean, I could have guessed from the fact that it's going to be about witches that it would be during the witch trials during the Civil War and the Stuart era. So yes, I don't know all that much about this. I don't know whether they're real witches or not, whether it's fantasy or sort of real world historical fiction, if that makes sense. Either way, strong autumn vibes, can't wait. And then for November, the prompt is the word good, but it has to be the actual word good. And I was stuck for so long because I don't have any books on my TBR that have the word good in the title. But then I remembered Goodbye to Berlin, one of the two Berlin novels. And just because it's not on the front cover, this is two books in one. The book is still called Goodbye to Berlin, so I'm going to try and read both in November, both Mr. Norris Changes Trains and Goodbye to Berlin, because they are in one volume. They do sort of go together, so I think it'll be fine to get through both of those in November. Obviously I haven't read this yet, that's why it's on my TBR. I have read A Single Man by Christopher Isherwood, and it is one of my favourite books of all time. So my expectations are pretty high. And also Cabaret the musical is based on this book. So what more could I want? So those are my autumn buzzword picks. And one of the other monthly challenges I've sort of set myself is a round the world reading challenge. So each month I read a book from a different part of the world, set in a different part of the world, ideally from an author who has some experience of that part of the world. I haven't finalised my TBR for most of autumn, but this one I've been saving because it's called November. November by Jorge Galan, and I think it's been translated from Spanish, and Galan is, yes, translated from Spanish, and Galan is from El Salvador. So it's about the Civil War in El Salvador, and again, I don't know a huge amount about this book, I picked it up in Hay on Wye a couple of months ago, and it just really sort of grabbed me. The summary, even just the cover, it was a bit of a cover buy, gonna be honest. And I do love November, best month of the year in my opinion. Although I don't think this will be very autumnal in atmosphere, given that it's about Civil War and not the English Civil War, because that I would count as autumnal. I don't know why. But the El Salvador Civil War, probably not so much. Either way, I am really looking forward to reading this. I've really enjoyed this challenge. It's the second time I've done a similar challenge to this one. It's really just sort of introduced me to whole aspects of the world and to history that I didn't know anything about. So I'm hoping that that will contribute to that. The other monthly challenge I do is to read at least one non-fiction book off my TBR every month. So again, I haven't picked all 3 yet, but for September, I'm going to read Mythology of the British Isles by Jeffrey Ashe. Again, medieval history, pre-medieval history. I don't know why, it just feels seasonal to me, it feels right. Maybe because I just love walking through the forests and going to kind of old places near me in the autumn, going to visit castles and sort of ancient sites. I mean, the outdoors is just beautiful in the autumn. Maybe that's why I associate it, I don't know. So yes, this is a compilation of British mythology. I think it's pretty Arthurian focused. I think there's quite a lot of Arthurian stuff in here. But it also mentions King Lear, Fingal, Beowulf, and more on the back. So I think this will be a nice sort of cosier non-fiction read. Now in the UK, every October is Black History Month, so my non-fiction book for October is going to be Black and British by David Olusoga. This has been on my TBR for a while. I will be honest, the length of it has intimidated me, but I feel like this is the time. Now is the time to read it. I've heard brilliant things about this. There is a very strong misconception that Black British history began in the 1950s, so I'm looking forward to reading a book that goes much further beyond that in the past and will sort of broaden the scope of the vision of it and my own understanding. So yes, I've heard excellent things and I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth stuck into this one. So now for some Kindle reads. Now I'm pretty sure these are all going to be ARCs, so that's a bit of the disclaimer, I guess, for the rest of this video. These are all ARCs, mostly NetGalley, some from other places. And the first one, I'm going to get the title correct, it's a long title. The Scandalous Confessions of Lydia Bennett, Witch by Melinda Taub. Of course I had to download this one. Of course I had to get it as soon as I saw it on NetGalley. It seems to be a witchy, fantastical, Pride and Prejudice inspired story in which magic is real, Lydia Bennett is a witch, Kissy Bennett is an actual cat, and Wickham is even worse than he is in Pride and Prejudice. Of course I had to get it, and of course I have to read it in autumn, of course. The next one is one of my most anticipated releases for this year, and that is A Power Unbound by Freya Marske. It's the final book in the Last Binding trilogy. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Just like with the first 2 books, we're going to have a different central couple. We're going to be tying together all of the different threads of the story. I'm so excited. I'm so ready. I cannot wait. This one is a bit of a different genre for me. It is 50 Feet Down by Sophie Tainen. This is, I think it's a murder mystery, kind of thriller, dark thriller. The cover gives dark academia vibes. I don't think it is dark academia, but I'm hoping for a similar sort of atmospheric feel. And it's also sapphic. That is more like the sort of thing I usually read, let's be honest. So, I mean, let's be honest, that's the reason I'm picking this book up. So yes, I'm looking forward to reading this. I have been enjoying more mysteries recently, by which I mean I've read some recently. It's not usually a genre I go for, so yeah, here's another one to get stuck into. So there we go, there is a selection of books that I'm hoping to get to this autumn. Let me know what you are planning on reading this autumn. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Click subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. and I will see you next time. Ta-ra for now.